Coming back at y'all. This is yet another video that I wanted to post, and this video is not going to be talking about Lamar Jackson, but I wanted to use this video to help prove my point in reference to the weapons around a quarterback have a very, very, very strong role in determining that quarterback's success or that quarterback's lack of success. This video, they're going to be talking about Tyreek Hill, whereas Dez Bryant has said that he believes that Tyreek Hill is the best player in the NFL behind Patrick Mahomes. And I want you all to pay close attention to some of the points that Dominique Foxworth is going to make in reference to the challenges that it presents a defense when you have a receiver with this kind of speed. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I've said in previous videos that, you know, when you have speed all over the field, because this is just one of Kansas City's weapons, Tyreek Hill, but the rest of the weapons there also have speed. And I've said numerous times, when you have speed like this, it makes a quarterback's job that much easier in comparison with the Lamar Jackson, who up to this point does not have speed at every position, which is why, in my opinion, you cannot say that all of these other quarterbacks are better than Lamar Jackson. I'm going to roll the tape, but I want y'all to pay close attention to what they say, the problems that it causes a defense when you have these top wide receivers.
We talked about this a little bit earlier, and Dominique and Rodnikovic are with me here. And let's put aside the notion that he might be the second best player in the league. Is he, Dominique, as a person who made your living covering wide receivers, is he, in your opinion, the best wide receiver in the NFL?
I mean, it's hard to find somebody that's better than him. I would go probably Julio is a little bit more threatening of a player because he has the size, but Julio doesn't have the quickness that Tyreek has, and Tyreek's speed, man, that breaks defenses. As I said earlier in the show, it's not football speed. Like, he's fast for a track athlete, and that changes everything. Put on top of it the fact that you can't really press him to change directions quickly. He's a dangerous guy. He tracks the ball well. All the things that you want a receiver to have, with the exception of maybe height, Tyreek Hill has. And you pair him with possibly the best quarterback we've ever seen. I know that I would lose more sleep preparing for Tyreek Hill than any other receiver in the league.
I just wanted to pause the video real quick because, like he just said, it breaks down a defense when you have one player, Tyreek Hill, with this kind of speed. So imagine what it does to a defense when you have a Tyreek Hill, Mecole Hardman, Travis Kelce, and Sammy Watkins all on the field at the same time. What does a defensive secondary do? How do you cover that? Now, they say that, well, Patrick Mahomes can run too, just like Lamar. Yes, he can run because he has that amount. He has all of that speed at his skill positions. He has all that speed to run the secondary all the way down the field. So of course he can run. That's a totally different running than, say, Lamar Jackson, when Lamar is, taking the ball from the snap and running a read option when he's got 8 in the box because they're afraid of not only him but the running backs, and they don't have to respect all of the skill position players with speed. Yeah, we have Hollywood, but like I said before, if you put a safety over the top and you press Hollywood and you don't have to worry about the speed at the other wide receiver positions or tight end positions, it makes it easier. And then you only have to worry about the tight end over the middle. Pretty much, you've got that covered. So then you can focus the rest of your attention upon Lamar Jackson, whereas Pat Mahomes, you can't focus you cannot take a player and say, we're going to make sure Pat Mahomes doesn't scramble and run, because you have to use your defensive players to account for all of that speed. And again, this is a former defensive player saying this. So when the media says to you that one quarterback is better than the other, keep in mind the weapons around that quarterback and how that correlates to that quarterback's success. I'm going to let it keep playing.
Maybe Julio Jones, but that's it.
Now, when we make the list of the best receivers in the sport over the last 2 or 3 years, it feels like the usual suspects are names like Julio Jones, Odell Beckham, DeAndre Hopkins. Tyreek Hill's name does not usually wind up on that list. Has that, Dominique, been an oversight in your mind? Is he a guy who should be talked about in exactly the same way we talk about those guys?
I absolutely think so. I think he is one of the keys to that offense. They have a lot of talented players, which is, I think he gets overshadowed, but he might quite possibly, even including what they have in Kelce, he might be the most unique player, because that ability to get off of press coverage and then also outrun the defenders, it's something that requires the attention of 2 defensive backs that opens up a lot of other things for other guys. And it's not just that he's a deep threat. You can get him to...
Just like I said in one of my previous videos, Lamar Jackson doesn't have anybody that's going to pull coverage to give him easy throws all over the rest of the field. And as Dominique just said, you need a cornerback and a safety to account for Tyreek Hill's ability. That's two of your defenders. Let's say you assign your other safety because you're not covering Kelsey with the linebacker. So let's say you use your other safety for Kelsey, or use multiple linebackers to kind of bracket him. So now you've got three of your defenders accounting for two players, maybe four. Then you've got Sammy Watkins. So let's say you use your linebackers on Kelsey, you're going to have to keep somebody over the top of Sammy Watkins or Mecole Hardman, or you're going to have to pick your poison and give a man-to-man. Either way, you have just given Pat Mahomes easy throws all over the field, which is why I hate when the national media says, well, Lamar Jackson he only completes passes because of his running ability. Well, I could argue that Pat Mahomes only completes passes because of the ease of defenses he has to face due to the talent on the field. I don't know if Pat Mahomes can do what he does without all of that speed. I don't know. He may, but I don't know. But what I do know is Lamar Jackson, with the defenses all keying on him, with the lack of speed at every position, Lamar Jackson still won unanimous MVP. So how do we say all of these other quarterbacks are better? Deshaun Watson, they say he's better than Lamar Jackson. Well, he's had D-Hop. I just heard D-Hop's name in there. As a matter of fact, they said D-Hop may be a combination of all of those things, height, speed, and hands, along with route running ability. So, as I said previously, D-Hop pulls coverage, which gives you man-to-man easy throws around the rest of the field. Where does Lamar have that? Where is that? Is it Willie Snead? I don't think so. Is it Miles Boykins as of right now? I don't think so. And Hollywood Brown was 150, 160 pounds last year and was a rookie who had a screw in his foot. And Lamar Jackson still won unanimous MVP. He still had 3,000 passing yards, 1,000 rushing yards, only quarterback in the history of the league to do it. But we say these other quarterbacks are better right now than him. Matt Ryan has always had Julio Jones. Matthew Stafford used to throw into triple and double coverage when he had Megatron. Aaron Rodgers, he had, what was the guy's name? Jordy Nelson. He had Greg Jennings. You know, he's in his heyday when he was putting up numbers, throwing bombs all over the place. You know, Tyreek Hill, he's with Mahomes. Baker Mayfield, who they don't say bad things about, he has Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham. So I just don't get it where we say that Lamar Jackson isn't yet that good. Maybe he can't make each and every single throw, but to dominate the way he has dominated with the lack of star-studded supporting cast, whereas we anoint other quarterbacks who have star-studded supporting cast all over the field, I just don't get it. I'll let the video keep playing.
Ball on reverse, you can get him on a quick screen, and he might take that to the crib. He's a dangerous player, and I think when you are sitting in your meeting room preparing to stop the Chiefs, that might be the first player that I'm looking at trying to figure out how to slow down and take that.
The first player he might be looking at isn't Pat Mahomes. The first player he might be looking at is Tyreek Hill. Who do you think is the first player defenses are looking at when they play the Baltimore Ravens to stop their offense? I don't think it's Hollywood. I don't think it's Andrews. I think it's Lamar. So we say that the defense has to pay attention to Lamar Jackson when they play Baltimore, yet he's not as good as a quarterback who is not our first level of concern when we play the Chiefs. Just more information as to why I say you got to trust your eyes in this sport. You got to watch the games, and you have to trust in what you're seeing. If you're seeing guys running past the whole defense and out jumping them to catch bombs, maybe that guy's talent is the reason why that completion was made. Maybe it wasn't just because the quarterback threw the ball. I'm not saying Pat Mahomes isn't good. I'm just using this to put an exclamation point on how great Lamar Jackson must be. He has to be that.
Deep threat ability away from that offense.
Rob Ninkovich, if you were starting a team, having played defense in the NFL all those years, if you were starting a team, could pick any one wide receiver to be your lead guy on your team, current player, which guy would you take?
I'm going Julio Jones, and that's because, look, the guy's 6'3", and he's fast. And you talk about...
I want to skip ahead just a little bit because I want to get to the end of this video.
That he's able to make with his size. It's a problem when you have a guy that's not 6'3".
So again, Nick, your job was to cover these guys. If we were to sort of define them, we would say Tyreek Hill is defined by his speed. Odell is defined by his hands. Julio is defined by his size and athleticism. DeAndre Hopkins is kind of a little bit of all of them. Which is the most difficult thing to deal with from a cornerback's perspective when the guy has that one ability?
Well, I think it's probably the speed. I think the speed is the most difficult thing because if you feel comfortable enough with your speed versus the receiver's speed, you feel fine sitting on routes. You can't sit on any route that Tyreek Hill is going to run. Like, you can take your chances if you want and try to stop a third down out or a third round crossing route, but that might...
Real quick, I just want y'all to notice what's on your screen right now from Dez Bryant. You can't have these conversations with stat watchers. This is the very first line there. This is what I tell people all the time. Stats do not always equate to the abilities of a player, which is why I said in another video, you may look at a stat sheet and you may see that Lamar Jackson had 170 yards passing and 100 yards rushing, and you may say, well, wow, that's not very good quarterback numbers. But stat watchers, fantasy football does not directly equate to your abilities. Lamar Jackson may dominate a game. He may, and with his 100 yards rushing, or maybe let's say he has 11 carries or 15 carries, they may all be for first downs. Each one of those runs may be for a first down. And maybe he's throwing some shorter passes out of his 170 yards because they have run the ball. They don't have to throw the ball every drive for the length of their drive. He still may end up with 3, 4, 5 touchdowns. That stat of yards passing does not equate to the dominance that he may have on a game. Conversely, you may have a quarterback, say Pat Mahomes, who may throw 2 to 3 40 to 60 yard passes in a game. So he may have 350 yards passing, on 17 completions. That does not necessarily mean that he dominated the game. Maybe his skill position players are dominating the defense to make these throws available to him. Maybe if those throws, what I want to have people realize is, let's say all things equal, each player has the exact same talent around him. Who would you be more afraid of? The quarterback who can only throw the ball and run a little bit, or the quarterback who can throw and run just as equally and very well? Because I would take the one that can do more. You're never worse if you can do more. And again, this video is not a shot at Pat Mahomes. I just want to show you all the national media. My enemy is the national media because they're spinning things in the wrong direction. So let's just continue on using our eyes. Let's watch these games. Let's watch these players. And let's not necessarily take what the media tells us is going on. Let's use our own eyes to figure out what's going on.